Alright, sweet. So what did you want to go over with this chart?
So I wanted to go over. So how do you draw? Like, where do you draw lines? What do you can do with it?
Oh, okay, sweet. Actually, this is gonna be a really awesome video which I'll post to the chat. So essentially you're asking me like how do I start my analysis? How do I look for my key levels? How do I
Yeah.
analyze the chart, right? Okay, sweet. Well, I will be doing this in my course which I'm making, but I'll briefly go over it now. First of all, I look at the high time frames, right? At the moment, we've seen on the month, it's a really new coin, so we don't really have too much to analyze right now. All we can see is that the project pumped and dumped quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to be going over the fundamentals of this. I'm literally just going to be analyzing what I see on the chart and the technicals. So, this is what I see. First, you want to go into a time frame which you can start to see key levels. So, for example, I can see a few here, right? I think the 8 hour will be the most appropriate. So, pretty much when I say key levels, like, what are we looking for? I'm trying to look for areas which are supports and resistances at the same time. So, I can already see a few. So, let me mark them up. We see this level 1.6 is treated as a support, but over here it's like a resistance. So I'll just cover this area here. And what you want to do is you want to cover the range of these candlesticks. Like 1.6, I can do that, right? But look, the candlesticks actually dipped into this area before pushing up. So you want to cover this because a key level is not just one level, it's actually a zone. Because you can see, look, price didn't even come down to this part before it bounced up. You know, it's all, they come to different areas, but generally they're in this area here. So I find the longest candlestick and I just cover that range. I drag that across. So here's one key level. You can even draw a line across at 1.6. So like here, like this. So it's like, that's the key level, but this is the zone. So it's not very straight. Now we'll look for another key level. We can see there's a bit of support being held in this area at the 1.1. And like I said, you want to look for these round numbers. So 1.1, drag it down like that. But really the key level is this one here. Oh, sorry about that.
Bless you.
So yeah, key level, thank you. 1.1, but the whole zone is where the candlesticks dip down to. Now let's go over here. So we can see price obviously testing. We've had 1, 2, 3 tests to, I think it's a 1.8. And look at here, it was also a support here and also resistance up here. So now the next one we found is the 1.8. So I'm gonna, because this candle is still open, it hasn't closed. I don't know, like, where do I start my box? Like, do I start it here? Do I start it where it currently is? Do I start it at the bottom? Instead of guessing, I start at the closest close or open here. So you can see these two candlesticks. Do it like there.
Yeah.
Find this candlestick because this is where price dipped down to before coming up. Draw it across. We can see, look how many interactions we've had with this level. It's treated it as a resistance 3 times over here. We've had it as a support here, and now we're having it as a support down here. So, and then I'll put this little line up here at 1.8. Just to make it like that. And yeah, so that would almost be it. I can see there's a resistance here at 2. Because look, it's touched here as a resistance, 1, 2. It's touched it as a support here, because it come down, touched up. And then over here was also resistance. So again, now we'll put this line at 2. Draw the box over to highlight the range. Right now I'm using the bot like this candle, and then... Okay, see, this is where it gets hard. It's like, do I draw it all the way up here because of this candlestick? Or do I draw it like down here because of this candlestick? I like to use the latest information. So we can see over the past couple hours or like the day, price couldn't break above this wick here, which is the $2. So I'll just keep that the same there. So now that's a resistance. And then, yeah, those are pretty much the main ones. Then always I put a key level at the top, right? The all-time high, because essentially this is the area it couldn't break through. The wicks are too long, so I'm going into the smaller time frame to sort of get a good gauge. So I reckon at the top here, range like this. but you can see it's touched 2.5. Didn't quite get to 2.6, but 2.5 is a round number, so I'm gonna generalize it and do something like that. There's still a bit of wick here, so I'm gonna just cover that wick like that. And now we'll go out into the 4 hours, which would be a nice time frame to analyze this on. And boom, just like that, we have our key levels drawn up. Now, after I've drawn my key levels, you can look for trend lines. So it's like, can I do something like this? That doesn't really work because we got a touch here, we got a touch here, but price didn't really come down to here, and we've seen it just break through. So in this case, trend lines aren't really applicable. But yeah, so now that I've got my key levels marked up, it's like, now what? What do I look for? You want to look at what phase is the market in. Is it like trending? Like, is it rallying? Is it retracing? We've seen a big push, right, from here up to there, and now we're seeing price pull back. You can say that here is a higher low, and then we've made a lower high, and then another lower low. But again, this is only on the 4 hour. If we go into the daily, then we've just made the higher high up here, and we've come down to the $1.80 to set a higher low. So since on the daily, because like the higher time frames make more, like they hold more weight to it, I would keep this level here still, but maybe I'll just delete this zone. It's not as strong because now I'm worried about the last high and the last low. So I'll keep this key level here. I wouldn't exactly call it a strong key level, only because if anything, I mean, no, it's not that it's not a strong key level, but I'm not as focused on it as I am this one and this one. This one, because this is where I'm targeting price to go to, and this one, because this is where we're setting the support, the higher low from this area here. So now what do we see? I mean, price isn't making any higher highs or higher lows in here. So what does that suggest? It suggests that we're in a zone. We're in a consolidation right now. I use the blue box just to indicate that this is in a zone. It just means that price is trapped in this area. So really, if we want, we can even just delete this and delete this. Maybe draw it over to the start and be like, okay, where is if price breaks above here, then we're going to see it come up here. If it breaks below there, we're going to come down here. So we'll go into the smaller time frames and see what's going on. It's literally just in a range right now. In this case, I will use a tool to find where the volume is, because for price to move, it needs to find volume. Because, I mean, if there's no buyers, how is price going to move up? It needs buyers to to rise, and it needs sellers to drop. So how do you find this? I use this tool here, the fixed range tool. You highlight this entire range from the first, the push. So this is like the movement to create the high, and then from there we started retracing. So I covered this whole range. And as you can see by this red line, it means that this is where the most volume is. So if price needs to make some sort of movement, it needs to come to this level to find all these buyers and sellers. But look down here, we can see that there's also peaks down here. I'll highlight this in this. Now, sorry if this is a little bit hard to understand. This is a bit more technical. But let's say this green range is where the volume is, which means this is where all the buyers and sellers are. We're forming consolidation at a support. We formed a higher low at a support. And it just so happens to be that in this area, we have a lot of volume. And price likes to chase the volume. You know how I said price moves from key level to key level? It's because at each key level, that's where the volume is. So right now, we're gathering lots of volume at a support, at a higher low on an uptrend. And we just saw earlier that the point of control is around here. It's above the price. So if price is going to make its next moves, it needs to go to where the volume is. Currently, it's gathering volume like where it is now. But since the point of control is here, we're going to see price try to find its way there. It doesn't mean it's going to stop there, because as it's coming up, it can gather more and more buy orders. And when it gets here, what if in this area there's lots of buyers? If it touches it, then that's what's going to send it up and hopefully break this level. So if I was trading this right now, a nice safe trade to take is I would wait for price to break above the $2 level. I would wait for it to reclaim here. So I would look for this. Some sort of break past, some sort of higher low, even if it's just testing the top of the box or if it's coming down here. I just need to see a higher low from this low. And then from wherever that higher low is formed, I will enter the trade. It could be anywhere, but just say it's here. I will enter the trade, put my stop loss below the last lows, because it means if it breaks below this, then price is coming down to here. So that invalidates my long target. So I'll always target the top. And then, yeah, I will look for something like that. That is how I would break down this trade. And as you can see, this would make you 30%. So, you know, you put in $100, you get 30 back. Or if you're trading it, then you get 3 times the amount of whatever you put in. Oh, sorry, 3%.
What does that mean?
It means 3 times of the risk. So it says risk to reward ratio 3.3. So that means if you enter here and you get stopped out and you lose like $10, it means that $10 is your risk. But since it says 3.3, that refers to whatever your risk is, your profit will be 3.3 times the amount of that. So if you have $10 risked, then if it continues and hits the target, then you will make $30.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's if you're like trading it. If you're doing spot, which is just buying into the token, then you look at these numbers, 30%.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I'll look for, you want price to break and close above $2. Then you want price to come down and close to make a higher low. And then you enter from there once everything lines up.
Yeah.
Easy.
So you see the top higher the higher high.
This one?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that made a lower.
Yep, it did make a lower high from this point here.
No, not the lower high. I'm talking about the lower low.
This one, the lower low here.
No, actually lower. The lower.
Just the first low. Yeah.
So that one. So that can act as a key.
Yes, it can, because if you look here, if we draw over the box, you can see it. This area is at the $2.10. It lines up with this, and you can see there was also resistance. It was acting as a resistance there as well. So good spot. I'm gonna delete this, and I'll show you what I mean. So remember how I said that? We'll do it like this. So here it's much more clear as a key level, right? Because it was a resistance, and now it's a support. Bounce 1, 2, 3, or whatever. Like, yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So that shows me that, yeah, like, you know, this is a strong level. What else confirms that it's a strong level? That we had a break below. Oh, wait, maybe it's on the smaller time frames here. Yeah, so we had broken below and formed that lower low, but then we came back up to retest the general area. But as you can see, it retested the $1 2.15. It's a little bit messy. It's not the greatest price action, but the fact that, yeah, it broke below, then came back up to test it before dropping confirms that, yeah, it is a strong level, because that's how price usually moves around levels. I mean, even like this. But yeah, I don't like playing around with smaller time frames, because like that, it gets very messy. I like just to stick to these higher time frames like this. But yeah, it does. I'd say it's a minor level. It's not a key level like these ones are.
Why is that? Oh, just because it's
It's on the lower time frames.
So right now, so here you also see the lower.
This one?
No, the one up.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it, but it's just not as significant just because of how easily price had pushed through that support. It just tested it once, but then it formed a double top. So if anything, it's not saying that this is a strong level. It's suggesting that this level is even stronger up here because, yeah, we formed the higher low from here. We've come up, and then there was way too much selling pressure from here. You can see it touched it, pushed down, immediately just flew down. So it can be a level, but it's a minor level. Like price did react to that area, but not as well as these areas here. Otherwise, it would have held a bit stronger, and the break and retest would have been a bit clearer.
Yeah.
But look, this is only on the 8-hour time frame. Even if we look on the daily, you can't really see it as a high. Like this is what matters to me, mostly the daily, weekly, and monthly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions on this?
No.
Okay, sweet. Well, yeah, I'm happy to go over charts like this anytime you'd like. So, because I feel it's like repetition. You need to keep doing this, keep practicing drawing your charts, keep hearing it, understanding market structure until it kind of sinks in and it becomes second nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Like, to be honest, like we're all there at that stage. When I first started trading, like a year and a half ago ish, I remember like still taking notes on what a support, what a resistance is, like learning about trend lines and stuff. But hey, like you stick to it, you do it every single day, you get good at it.
But I just want to know the key, what do I say? So in order to learn it, you need some sort of source to learn it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you
You have to have a little bit of knowledge to learn it, right? To go further up.
yeah, exactly, and I guess that's what the whole purpose of Shine is. I just want to be here to give people those resources, that knowledge, that experience, and time that I put in. They can learn from that. And yeah.
Which I'm glad about and which I'm happy about.
Yeah. But yeah, so this chart's looking pretty good so far. If you are planning on trading it, I would honestly wait for that bounce off 1.8. Like a clear closure or where was it? Is this
so
the right
it should be a good time to enter in if it passes 2.
Well, it looks like there is some resistance here at around 2. But what you could do, honestly, like even from the rejection of this area, and again, not financial advice, but the fact that we have created a higher low on the higher time frames, rejecting this area, I would wait for a higher time frame like confirmation. Yeah, probably on the 8-hour would be better. You could buy in here, set your stops just below there, and then aim for the top. That would be a bit of a riskier trade though, but it does provide a much better risk to reward ratio. But if you want to be safer, like in my opinion, the way I would trade this is, yeah, I would like to see the reclaim of 2. And then I would target the all-time highs, like roughly at $10. So I would take the trade like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would wait for the reclaim of 2 and take it very similar to that.
So I just wonder, you see the all-time high, but how come there is no selling pressure?
From here?
Yeah. Oh, it's one long week. They bought it and then they brought it down, eh?
Yeah. So as soon as it opened up, because that's the thing. When tokens first like start, either it be through like an ICO or something, there's so much hype and people buy into it just to catch that euphoria, and then they sell it off when they take the profit. So that's why you see this huge wick. Like it probably all happened within the first hour, if I'm correct. Yeah. See that?
Yeah, something like that.
Literally within the first hour, we had that price action. Like we had that boost of like 800%, over 800%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 8 times, man.
Yeah, you put in $100, take back 800
within an hour.
Yeah. So that's the reason for that pump. But yeah, it's just people trying to catch that euphoria at the start. But I don't pay attention to this wick because what matters is the price action, not the hype.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that was helpful.
It was really helpful.
Alright, awesome. Well, I think I'm gonna head off.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Could you please send me that personally, that the one we are recording right now?
Yeah, of course. Do you mind if I use it as a video just to demonstrate?
No, go it. Yeah. Yeah, you can
Okay,
go.
sweet. Well, I'll do the same then. I'll upload it and then I'll send you the link.
Yes, that's okay. That's good.
All right, awesome. Well, I'll try and get that done ASAP, so it should be out within a few hours.
All right, cool.
All right, well, awesome. Thanks for joining me today, Dan, for the daily forecast and review, and like good questions as well. So I'm glad I could help.
Yes, I'm glad also, and thank you for giving us your time as well.
Yeah, no worries at all. Happy to help. Have a good day.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
No worries. Catch you, mate.
All right, see you tomorrow.